back. I am so excited for you guys today because I have one of my beautiful friends, Selena Soo, with us. Now, before we dive in, I want to give you a little bit of background on Selena. She is a business strategist, publicity coach for visionary entrepreneurs, experts, and authors. She helps her clients increase their visibility, build powerful relationships, and develop a solid business strategy so that they can reach the masses with their message. And she has worked with clients such as Marie Forleo and Danielle Laporte. So I am so grateful that you're here. Welcome and thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Now, before we dive in, can you give us a little nutshell version of how you got to where you are today? Because I know people love hearing that story.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for my whole life, like my biggest passion has always been promoting, people and ideas I'm really passionate about. And so I found myself at these nonprofits and women's organizations. I just really, it was so about women's empowerment. And, at about the same time, when I was also, starting business school, I was following people like Marie Forleo, Danielle Laporte, Ramit, Sethi, and I'd watch their videos like late at night, on my laptop, and I would just think like these people are so cool. Like these are the kinds of people that I just want everyone to know about. But I didn't know like if there was a job where you could just start helping these people. And over time, I actually started building relationships with them. I had been in touch with Danielle Laporte back when she had her style statement business, like well before the desire map and everything, just reaching out and offering my help to her. For me, I bumped into him very randomly on the streets of New York one day, and actually just instead of running away like most people, I actually was like, I introduced myself to him and really connected with him. And I just, and we can go into some specific examples later, but high level, it's just I found ways to add value to these people. And the thing is, I was just so passionate about their work that I was just happy to contribute. I didn't even need a formal working relationship. I just started doing things for them. And they started knowing about me, bringing me on for projects, referring me to people. So it happened organically, but it really, it wasn't like strategic. I didn't have this master plan. It just happened really organically, which I think is usually the best way for things to happen.
Absolutely. Now, you touched on it before, but your story of how you met Ramit, and for those of you who don't know who Ramit Sethi is, he's an author of the book and website I Will Teach You to Be Rich, which focuses on personal finance and entrepreneurship. So can you share that story? Because I love that story and I know everyone listening will love it too.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so basically, I was in business school at the time, figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. I was interning at a company, and just doing a lot of networking. But anyways, I was walking, home one day, and I saw him on the street, and I was actually I think on the phone with my mom, and I was like. I gotta go. And I was like really excited. And he was actually letting his parents into a car, and I just went up and introduced myself to him. And I think that he was really surprised because I think I don't really fall into the profile of his typical, student. It's usually these like really awkward, 20-year-old guys who like, want to be the next, Tim Ferriss type people, and they're pretty nerdy. So he was like, oh, wow, like I have, female readers. And I just started talking to him about his book and his program that I bought. And I mentioned like a lot of really specific details. And he was really blown away. Like he had mentioned he had come back on this cruise with his two sisters, and I was like, oh yeah, I knew about that he had two sisters. And he was like, how do you know that? And I was like, well, in chapter 7 in your book in savings, you talked about how your sisters had these Indian weddings, and I just referenced all these things. And I think that I think also for all of us, when we put our work out there in the world, sometimes we don't know, like, is it really landing with people? Is it really making an impact? And the fact that he could see that I had taken so much to heart and had remembered it, I think it really meant a lot to him. And so I left a very lasting impression.
Oh, awesome. And, it's something so simple. Like, even just a lot of people don't have the confidence to go up, and we'll talk about this in our call, but having the confidence to, and the balls to go up to
Yeah.
somebody that you admire is really brave. So, can you talk about, did you have a dance with fear when you were like, or were you just like, stuff it, I'm going and I'm going to say hi?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely was really excited because, he definitely is the blogger, the entrepreneurship expert that I follow the most. And I also, I had this feeling inside of me, like this might be my only chance, because you don't just bump into your favorite experts on the street every day. And I was like, I could just walk away, or maybe it isn't him and just do nothing, or I could just go up and kind of seize the opportunity. And I think once I started talking to him, um, I was just so excited and really coming from a place of passion and really caring about his work. We were just having a very, real conversation. It sort of felt natural. So it ended up being fine. But I think that I guess I'm someone who, when I see an opportunity, I just kind of seize the opportunity, and I'm kind of being led by passion. And I think passion and fear are, they kind of come from the same place, right? It's a place of excitement, but I think with fear, you kind of just stay paralyzed and you start kind of overthinking things. And I think that I just kind of jumped into the situation and just expressed my appreciation for his work. And I think when you connect with someone and let them know that their work has made such a big difference in your life, I mean, everyone wants to hear that. No one's going to be like, not welcome that. So
Yeah.
it worked out.
Yeah, that's very, very true. We love hearing that our work resonates with people and things like that. It's a really good point. So, you help people build these relationships with influencers. So, how can someone then, if they, bump into someone on the street or they have been introduced to an influencer, how can they authentically start to nurture and build that relationship?
Yeah, I love that question because I think that a lot of times, okay, I'm hearing the echo. Are you?
No, it's okay on my end.
Okay, I'm going to keep continuing. It stopped.
Okay,
The
good.
echo stopped. So I think a lot of times people will meet someone and they'll be excited, but then they don't follow up. And that happens to all of us. I mean, I don't know if you have had a situation where someone's like, oh, it's so great to meet you, Melissa. Yeah, I'm going to follow up with you about this, or let's stay in touch. And they never do anything. They just forget. They get busy, and then they're like they overthink it. So with him, I joined his list for his New York City meetups. And so I started going to his, live events. And I also met Derek Halpern there. So I became friends with his other friends. And I just kept on, being, just showing up and being a helpful resource. And one day he emailed me while I was in business school, because he was relaunching his website. And he said, Selena, I've got these two versions of a homepage from my designer. If you have, a couple of minutes, like 5 minutes, I would just love your feedback. If you like A or B better. And I was so excited because I looked at these mock-ups and I had so many ideas. And I was actually in the classroom when I got this email, but I like left the classroom and I, went to the library and I was like analyzing this and kind of pulled together my like, business school friends. And we had like this focus group, and I was just gathering all of their feedback and what they thought. And I put together this pages and pages, kind of like a write-up in terms of, how he could improve it, what other people thought. And so I sent this over to him, and he was just expecting me to say, oh, I like version A better. But I had pages and pages of really thoughtful feedback to help him with his, website and brand. And he was really blown away. He like sent this to his team to look at. They were all talking about it. And I think that that's just an example of how I am in general. I really believe in going above and beyond. And it's not because I was trying to, you know, impress him per se, but I think that I just saw that I could help him so much more than just saying I like version A better. And I think that when you're trying to build relationships, that is a really good strategy because, I mean, even though it wasn't intentional, because a lot of these people that you admire, they're people all the time, who are trying to get their attention. And I think if you just interact with them in a very average way, then you're just going to, seem average. But when you do something where you show how much you care and you're proactive and you find ways to give them even more value, that will be remembered. And another example is, Ramit was coming out with an iPhone app called Negotiate It. And I was at the time I was like just online looking at some of these magazines editorial calendars, and I noticed that Oprah magazine had an issue coming up about technology and finance. So I thought like, wow, that app would be the perfect fit for the issue. So I just went ahead and reached out to them about what Ramit was doing, and they ended up covering his iPhone app. So yeah, it was really amazing. He got a mention, his first time he was in Oprah magazine. And so, I've just found a lot of ways to help people because I'm very good at kind of connecting the dots and spotting opportunities. And I think that, when you give so much and you care so much about people, naturally they start caring about you. And so when I did start my business, I had a lot of people, Marie, Danielle, Ramit, so many others that really cared about me, and they knew the quality of my work. And so they were able to really endorse me and help me start my business in a powerful way.
Beautiful. And I love that everything that you do comes from an authentic place. It's not slimy or sleazy, it's just really heart driven, and you can really feel that in everything that you do. And I think it's so important.
Thank you.
So, how can publicity help people's businesses like mine and Marie's and Danielle's? Like, how can it really, and Ramit's, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing we should do is also define what publicity is.
Yeah.
Because I think when people think publicity, they think just, magazines and TV. But it's really so much broader. Publicity is about, somebody spreading your work to lots of people. So, when I think about publicity, I also think guest posts count as publicity. I think if a Marie Forleo is emailing her list about you, being like, check this person out, that's a form of publicity. So it's, I like to see it as a lot broader. And I think that it is really important because publicity is basically, a brand, a well known brand or person that has a lot of reach, telling people to check you out and to, look into your work. And I think, especially when we're getting started out and we are developing our brand, you know, people don't really know much about us, and they all need like a reference point. And so having, trusted people in the marketplace already saying like, yes, like this person's amazing, check them out, people automatically trust you. So it is extremely important. And also, by ourselves, there's only so many people that we can reach. There's only, so many people in our network. But when we have other people leveraging their networks to spread the word, then, more people who need our help are able to find us.
Absolutely. And for us online businesses and brands, our list is gold. That is something that is so important to me personally. I nurture my list, and, I treat them like absolute gold nuggets. So,
Yeah.
and PR can really help build your list. But what are three things that people could kind of do today that could help build their list through some PR strategies? I know you said guest posting. What are some other things that people could do?
Yeah, sure. Let me first go into the guest posting one because I think it is really big, and I just don't want people to overlook, like, oh, of course I know about it. Because I know that in my own business, it has been a game changer. So with Ramit, he actually gave me the opportunity to guest post for him. And it was amazing because he has over 200,000 people on his list. And it's a lot of, people who are, who purchase, products and courses. So that was great. It was really my ideal audience. A lot of authors, journalists, influencers. So when I released that guest post with him, right away, at this point, I think it's almost 2,000 people who have signed up on my list by him, including me in his content. But, someone joined my mastermind. Just recently, someone signed up for $29,000 worth of coaching services with me, and she first learned about me through him. If I had to like tally up the total in terms of people joining my programs and kind of learning about me through him, it's like over $100,000. um,
Wow.
Literally, yeah, and it's just going to keep on growing. So it really had a financial impact. It added, 2,000 people on my list, and it's going to keep growing because he keeps promoting it. So, it's not just any guest post; it's the right guest post opportunities. And, with the guest post, I also had. A free gift that I gave away. It was a 4-step guide where people could learn more about my methodology for making these high impact connections. And with people that I coach, oftentimes they forget to include that free gift. They just do the publicity piece. They say their thing, then they disappear. And I know people who, for example, have guest posted on Mind Body Green and maybe gotten, zero subscribers from it. And then other people who left a, link to a free gift in their author bio, and they've gotten 800 subscribers from one post. So, you know, so sometimes people say, "Oh my gosh, this strategy doesn't work. I tried guest posting, it's not right," and they try to do 100 million different things. And really, it's like it is a strategy that works, but you have to do it the right way. And so, if it's not working for you, how can you make it better? But I think that that is, really, really key.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And yeah, it's always, I always ask myself as well, like, how can I give more? How can I offer more? And I like that idea of just putting like a free gift or something in the bio at the bottom of your post. It's a really good idea.
Yeah. And so in terms of publicity, you can grow your list. Another thing is really thinking about how to leverage the publicity you have, because the thing is, if they're reading about you in a magazine or they're, watching you on TV, there's not that direct connection to then, just like click on a link and sign up for your list. Um, but what you can do is like traditional publicity is really powerful to say that you've been in Oprah magazine or you were on the Today Show. And then so you can leverage that as part of your brand, and it makes you more memorable. It tells people that you really are a go-to person. And so that drives people to do more research. Wow, this person, looks really interesting, and it seems that everyone is featuring her. And so that will get more people to come to your website, more interested in signing up and hearing what you have to say. So I think that, with publicity, I mean, some of it, of course, is very direct to growing your list, but others is more about brand building and credibility, and it kind of supports your existing list building efforts.
And for people who, are just kind of starting out and they maybe can't afford to hire a publicist or someone like yourself to really develop a plan and a strategy, would you suggest guest posting is the first place to start?
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, it depends on what kind of publicity they want. If they want, magazines or TV. But if they're looking for, magazines and to be written up in places, and I think guest posting is good because there are a lot of opportunities for that. And also, I was talking to an editor at Oprah magazine recently, and it's actually kind of rare that they'll feature someone as an expert if they haven't had any publicity. It shouldn't be Oprah magazine as a first stop. They should have already gotten, local media or some online media and shown that they, have knowledge about how to interact with media before getting those bigger opportunities. So they definitely do, look at that. So I do think that that would be the first stop. If someone is looking to do TV, they really care about how good you are in video. I was just with a Today Show producer the other day, and the first thing they do is they Google you, they look to see if there's any video, and then they watch that. And, because the thing is, it's kind of like, if you had a house and you're trying to sell the house, but there's no photos, it's like, okay, what's the point? And if someone's going to put you on TV and you're speaking live, they need to see, how you do in that medium. And so even if you, don't have TV appearances or clips that you can show these other bigger outlets, if you're even doing video like this, just something will really help in terms of them, being able to assess if you would be the right fit for them.
Perfect. I love that. And so, what would you say to someone who really wants to connect with these influencers, but they have no idea where to start, or maybe they live in a small country town and, don't have access to people that live in New York? So what would you suggest there?
Sure. There's a couple of steps, and I think that the very first thing that people need to do is they need to create a list of who they want to connect with, because sometimes people say, I know I want to connect with, people, influencers, but I don't even know who the influencers in my world are, and some people are like, okay, well, I want to become friends with Marie Forleo and Danielle Laporte. And that's okay, but I think that it's also important to think bigger, that, just the top two people in the industry, like them or Richard Branson, those aren't the only people who are worth connecting with, obviously, and who can help you with your goals. So I think that, the first step I would say is getting clear on, what's really important to you. What are your goals, and what's your long-term vision? And if it's something like writing a book, then thinking about, okay, who do I admire who has written a book? Because it could even be someone who's just a couple, steps ahead of you, someone who's already, in your world. So there's also low hanging fruit. So you should have a list of low hanging fruit as well as some aspirational people as well. Um, and then once you've identified who you want to connect with, and the next step would be um, doing your research. So, when I connected with, everyone from Ramit and Derek, Danielle, Marie, all these people, I think what made a really big difference is that when I talked to them, it was, very, very authentic, very heartfelt, and I already knew a lot about their business. I was very specific, and I could speak their language. I knew what was going on in their lives, and they loved it. So we were able to have a conversation like friends. And so for a lot of the experts that we admire, they do have websites and newsletters. They are on social media, and they're regularly sharing what's important to them, in these outlets. And so really there's, if you're looking to connect with an expert, there's no excuse to not know what's happening because they're sharing that all the time. So, really doing your research. Um, and then after that, reaching out to them. And there's different ways you could do it. I think that it's good to first kind of, develop the relationship kind of over time. So maybe it's you're following them, on Twitter or Facebook, you're commenting, you're retweeting things, you're leaving, comments on their blog, and you're just, engaged. So they're sort of familiar with your name because you're just out there supporting them and, active person in their community. And then I think that you can reach out because at that point they would have already seen your name a couple of times. So like, oh yeah, I remember that person. She's, such like a friendly face, that sort of thing. And then reach out to just, I mean, there's different things that you could do, but I think that one thing that everyone can do is just to express appreciation. Um, for that person's work, so sharing how long you've been following them for, and also what have they shared that has really resonated with you and what you've done about it. So if someone has shared tips on how to live a better life, did you actually implement those tips and did that lead to a certain result? Because all the experts, what they live for, the reason why they do what they do is because they want to help people improve their lives. And so if you're letting them know that, the stuff that they're working so hard on day in, day out is making an impact, they're going to love that. And that would just make their day. So that's how you would start building the relationship.
I love that. I was recently at an event and somebody came up to me and she said to me, oh, that post that you wrote, that particular post, that fourth step, I implemented it and changed my life. And I will always remember that girl, and she really did make an impact on me because I know she's doing the work. And then there's other people that come up and they just kind of like say, oh, hi. And, they're not as memorable because I'm not really, they're just not sharing what's going on for them. So
Right.
I love that. I love that, sharing and following and commenting and letting the person know that their work is making an impact, because ultimately you're right. That's what we want to know. Otherwise, what are we sitting behind our computer going like this for all day long? We want to make sure that it's reaching the people out there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what is something else that people can do to get themselves out there, to make a bigger impact in the world and to get their brand seen?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's so important to be putting out quality content and to have a brand that's really authentically you. Because the thing is, if your brand doesn't really reflect who you are, or your content is just kind of done in a very rushed way, it's not reflecting your best work, it doesn't matter how much you're doing, how many times you're blogging, tweeting, sending things out there, it's not going to get you very far. So I'm all about quality over quantity. And I think that sometimes, in the world that we're in the expert space, is that sometimes, people, I think that they're trying to copy some of the, people that they admire, and they're not really taking the time to really develop a unique brand. What happens is there's a lot of Me Too content that is not standing out. I think something has to be extraordinary in order for it to kind of make an impact. So I think that the one thing is you need to really get clear on what is your big idea. everyone has a different big idea. So someone like a Gabrielle Bernstein, her big idea, which is, on the front of her website, is, become the happiest person you know. She's all about helping people find that inner happiness and joy. And for me, my big idea is connect and be seen. I'm all about helping people make powerful connections with, other people, the media, influencers, and really, becoming more visible. And so, what is that one main thing that you stand for? That's really what you're all about. And then the other piece to it is getting really clear on what your personality is. Because a lot of us have the same big idea, but we have a different way of expressing that. And I think that, with your personality, you want to be very authentic. And so, one aspect of my personality, which, I share openly, is I'm someone who's actually pretty introverted. And, I'm not someone who like naturally wants to be in the spotlight or wants all the attention. I mean, I really love promoting other people and brands. And over time, I've kind of started developing my own brand, but it's really just to get my work out and my message versus drawing attention to me. But I think that even that aspect of my personality is a little bit unique because not everyone talks about it. And it just draws more people to me because I'm honest about it. So I think, really thinking about, what makes you different, what makes you special, and really making sure to communicate that in all of your work.
I love that. And I love that. Just what is your big why? I love that. And what would you say to someone, though, who is just like, I am so passionate about so many things and I'm not sure, like, do I go in this direction? Do I go in that direction? What is some advice you would give somebody who is at that point in their career?
Yeah. Let's see. Because I definitely had those moments too. When I first started my business, I was writing all of these really kind of like more like personal development pieces. I wrote a piece called Confessions of a Highly Sensitive Entrepreneur, and another piece about, um, kind of expressing your feelings and not being afraid to cry at work. And I was thinking, like, what does this have to do with like marketing and, publicity and feeling like, oh my gosh, I like have a split personality and, all this stuff. But I think that, I think when we give ourselves so much pressure, like, oh my gosh, I need to figure out like exactly what I'm meant to be doing in that, one thing, and I can only do that, then it's like we're stifling ourselves. And I think that I just kind of let myself express myself. And then over time, it just became really clear what it was about. And I think that also with these personal posts, it was really also about connecting with people, you know, and I guess being seen, but also making other people feel seen. Because I think all of us experts, we have the same fears when we're putting ourselves out there and we're growing our business. So I think that, don't worry about it because I think that, things will evolve over time. But I think at your back of your mind, always be kind of thinking about, okay, like, how are these dots connecting? And then eventually it'll become clear. So I think it's okay if it's not immediately apparent, but I do believe that everybody has, I mean, there can be multiple things that we're passionate about, but there is really one core thing that we stand for. And, maybe you might need to work with a coach or do some journaling exercises, but, it's definitely there.
Absolutely. For me personally, when you were saying that, I was just thinking about my own process, and I
Oh,
didn't just wake up one day and go, this is the business I'm going to have. It developed over time, and there were so many things that I was passionate about, but it's kind of, yeah, just over the past few years, it's really kind of become a lot more crystal clear and concise and really
mm,
organically developed and grown. So, for people who are a bit stressed and like, I don't know what, just ride it out and keep following what charms you most. Keep following those desires, keep following what you love and what makes you feel good, and stop doing everything else that you don't like. And it's almost like everything starts to eventually kind of all flow in the right direction. And you're like, this is it.
yeah, exactly. And not to put you on the spot, but I'm just curious. Do you know what your big idea is?
Yeah, my big idea, I am on this earth to help women become wildly wealthy, fabulously healthy, and bursting with love. And
I love that.
that is my absolute mission in this world, and I will move mountains to make that happen. And it lights me up seeing women, find that within themselves and reach those places where they are bursting with love and they're wildly wealthy and fabulously healthy. Like, that to me is like, makes me just so excited and really, really gets me lit up from the inside out. So I just love it.
Oh, that's so great. I feel like, your brand is so much about like abundance and possibility. And I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to help people. I just want to help women find the life and the business and the path that makes them happy because we all deserve it and we all have it. No one's more special than anybody else. We all have that ability, but I think there's just so much conditioning and so much fear that we kind of put on top and we can't see clearly. So, through my work, through my programs and my coaching and my meditations, everything I do, my live events, it's all about removing that fear and helping people see clearly so they can get onto that path of love and creating the business and the life that really inspires them.
I love that. And Melissa, I have a couple more ideas in terms of helping people get clear on what makes them unique. So I think that can be hard sometimes. We're like, okay, well, I know I'm a nice person, and you come with all these adjectives, but you're like, is that really what distinguishes me? And so, one thing that I suggest that people do is take some personality tests. So, Myers Briggs is a test that I love so much, and I personally am an INFJ, and there's like lots of descriptions online about what your personality is and what makes you so different from other people. And so going through that and being like, okay, wow, and underlining the things that really resonate with you. There's also tests like Marcus Buckingham's Strengths Finders, really identifying what makes you unique and what your strengths are that are just effortless for you. And there's other tests like Colby or Enneagrams. So just answer a couple of these. Do these tests, answer the questions, and they will like give you all this information and just go through and underline what really resonates, and then use that to pull what your unique qualities are that should be associated with your brand.
Amazing idea. I love that.
I love that. Yeah, just makes it easier for people than like just kind of sitting there wondering, oh, how do I even begin?
Exactly. I totally agree. And, people, I think I see a lot of women that try really hard to be unique, but you don't really need to try. Like, you just need to let out what is already in there, and just strip off the fear that we've put on top and just let out what's in there. And those tests are amazing. I've done them all. They're amazing, just to really kind of get crystal clear on a few things that really make you unique and stand out. So thank you. That's really helpful.
You're welcome.
So is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up? Like, this has just been so juicy and I'm so grateful. But is there anything else you want to add to the end of the call?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it would be good to talk about some of the, because I really want to encourage people to, go for their dreams, to reach out to people where there's these synergies. But I think that there's a lot of mistakes that people make. And so I thought it'd be helpful to just talk about a couple of those so people can make sure not to make those mistakes.
I like that because there's always like lots of, do this, but there's not a lot of don't do this. So this is really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things is when you're reaching out to the people that you admire is a mistake that I see is that people get excited because they've been following these people for years and years, and they have so much in their head that they want to share, and they kind of treat it like it's this one-time thing. And so sometimes people will write emails that are, just too long. Maybe it's like by the time you scroll down, it's like 9 paragraphs, 5 different questions. And the person on the receiving end, while they're obviously grateful that someone took the time to write something so thoughtful, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. And you really want to create a two-way dialogue, not a one-way monologue.
Yes.
And I've had other examples, like when I was just at an event like a little while back with my friend Lewis Howes, and there was someone who came up to talk to him, and she was just so excited, but she just couldn't stop talking, and he didn't have a chance to even say anything. And I feel like that kind of, created like this, what would you say? The opposite of connection, you know what I mean? Like created a barrier. And so I think you have to remember that people are just people. And, when you're connecting with someone, it has to be a two-way thing. And so it's okay to, not say everything. In fact, it's better to, just kind of lead with one main thing, whether it's just expressing appreciation or one idea, and then kind of going into that dialogue. So that's one thing I wanted to share. Um, and then I think another thing is also, you know, being careful about what you ask for. So I think that, of course, once we develop a relationship with someone over time, it's natural for there to be, both people giving to each other. But I've definitely seen people ask for things too early. And I mean, I've even made this mistake before myself where I was at a conference recently and I met someone, and I could immediately see that, it would be so great for us to kind of collaborate and promote each other. And there was a moment where I got into this like scarcity mode. The conference was ending, and I just kind of, and I sent him this email, and it was really like too soon. It wasn't appropriate because I hadn't established that foundation. So even though I preach this, I make, not all the time, but occasionally I've made these mistakes myself. But I'm thinking about, recently someone, and I don't hold this against people when they make mistakes because we're all human. But someone, sent me this really nice letter during Christmas, and I was excited, like, wow, I don't always, get, mail, like, either handwritten or printed mail. And she was saying, that she really appreciated my work. And at the end of it, she said, oh, so I'm starting my business, and I would love for you to refer people to my practice, and here are some business cards. And then I was kind of like, then I didn't feel so good about it because it was like, I don't even really know her. So why would I, refer people to someone that I don't know? I'm not familiar with her experience. And when I reread the email, I was like, oh, well, she might have just sent the same email to everyone because there was nothing really specific about the impact that I had made beyond that, I was doing something that was inspirational. So, there have been a couple of times that people have reached out to me, emails or in person saying, oh, can you send me business? Because they know that I'm someone who is a connector. But it's like, you haven't shown me yet that you're really good at what you do. So it just wouldn't make sense. And it makes me feel awkward. So I think that, what happens is, we see the possibilities, but we haven't established a relationship yet. So it's not appropriate to make that kind of ask.
Absolutely. You have to nurture that relationship authentically and yeah, just be your unique self. And it's like what we are talking about before, it will organically unfold and evolve. But yeah, kind of like jumping in straight away and going, can you do this? Can you do that? Like it's a bit full on.
Exactly. So yeah, I think those are the two main things, the two main mistakes I see people making. But again, if you mess up, it's not the end of the world. We all do, but just something to keep an eye out for because, as much as possible, we want to be developing these relationships that are really win-win and that feel natural, and that where people are happy to help you, but it's because you've developed that strong foundation that's really come from, you giving first before asking.
Absolutely. And if somebody, if you do reach out to an influencer and you get nothing back, should you take it personally or should you not take it personally?
Yeah, you definitely shouldn't take it personally because, I mean, I'm very good at responding to people. I actually respond to every single person who emails me.
You're
But there have
amazing.
Yeah, I just really enjoy doing that. But there have been like, one or two times where someone sent me an email and been like, oh, you didn't respond to me. And I realized, oh, you know what? Maybe I was in a launch or, I was off site for 3 days and that email might have just fallen through the cracks where I saw it and I didn't get back to it. So it doesn't mean, that, I didn't care. It's just things happen sometimes. I think people can get quite angry or they turn it into a bigger thing when someone didn't respond to them. And really it's, it's just, it doesn't really mean that much. Also, for most people, like for someone at Marie Forleo's level, it is impossible for her to respond to everyone because if she did, then she wouldn't be able to get anything else done in her business, And so we have to also just, respect that people are going to do what they can do. And if they don't respond, it's okay. And then the other thing is sometimes people say, they worry, oh my God, I said this thing in this email. Is this person going to think I'm weird? And they keep on thinking about it. And it's like, the person on the receiving end, if they're really busy, they probably already forgotten, because they're on to other things. So it's okay to email them again and don't even worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really, really a beautiful piece of advice. So thank you. And anything else did you want to say before we wrap up?
Well, I want to share is that I have a free gift for people if now's a good time
Yeah,
to share.
go for it. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so I create this free video and it's called Get VIP Access to Media Influencers and Online Stars. And I share three of my most powerful strategies that I've used to build relationships with magazine editors from places like, Oprah and Glamour to people like Marie, Danielle, Ramit. And so it goes into a lot more depth and it has a lot of, action steps that people can take. So I would love to share that with them. We can just put the link below the video or then people can just access it there.
Thank you. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you're offering that. That's really awesome.
You're welcome. People always meet me about, oh my gosh, this was so helpful. I'm so on fire. I have all these ideas. And so, when I think about all the things I could share, I feel like that's the one thing that's really going to get people in action. So I'm really happy to share that.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this really amazing interview. And I just want to say personally, having you in my life, I can vouch for this. You are just always so giving and so loyal and so unique and authentic with everything that you do. And it really comes across. And it's just really beautiful to meet somebody who is just so authentic. And I'm so grateful for all the information. And you give so much. You're always giving and giving and giving. And that's something really beautiful to watch. So thank you. You inspire me all the time. So thank you.
Thank you. That means a lot. And I think that, one thing is just, years ago, I never saw myself in this position because I really was that behind the scenes person. I was an introvert. I was shy. I was terrified of public speaking. I mean, a couple of years ago, I might not even been able to do this interview with you, because I was just self-conscious. And so I think for the people watching who feel like, am I ever going to make it? Do I have to be someone who, is naturally a certain way, like great on camera or really extroverted or charismatic? Like, you don't have to be. I mean, I really appreciate you saying that, you feel like the work that I'm doing and where I'm coming from is an authentic place, because that's really what makes all the difference. I think the authenticity and the courage to put yourself out there, I think that everybody can achieve their dreams.
Absolutely. I am so grateful for you giving us this time and all of that wisdom. And I'm sending you so much love to New York. I hope it's not too chilly there. And thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, and if any of your listeners want to email me, they can. My email is hello@s2-group.com, groupe.com. I know it's a little bit hard to remember, but, I'm online, so I would, happy to connect with anybody, and I'm so grateful for, your time and everyone else's time for checking out this interview.
Thank you so much, and sending you so much love.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.